in the house, it's Steve Merritt. Steve is with Brent Van Zyl. Van Zyl. Steve, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
It is a pleasure. This is a kind of a different conversation. We talked about the people in the medical marijuana as far as the trade association and certainly other aspects of it. But the agricultural part of this, you're 61 years old. You got 6 grandkids. You're a conservative. You are a Republican. And it says you're a Christian. And you're running a new startup in Mississippi growing marijuana. Where is that now, and how did you what's the background, first of all?
That's a long story. The building's going to be in Canton.
Yeah.
The mayor of Canton, the people there have been wonderful and have been very accepting and open. For me, my father was a Superior Court judge. Before that, he was a district attorney. He actually put people in jail for marijuana. There's a guy I actually was in high school with. He was a good bit older than me. That while I was still in high school, he was out, but he got caught with.
Where'd you go to school?
In Georgia. Yes, sir. That's where I'm originally from.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Mississippi?
Been here for about 6 months. We're moving here. I'm not officially moved over, but
so you're moving here specifically to take advantage of this?
It's not so much to take advantage of it. It's one of those things where when I first got into this, I was in the food industry, so I was building chicken plants and food storage. If you eat it, I've been in a plant that either makes it, processes it, or stores it, and it's been all over the nation. So I was very, very big on food safety. That's my life. That's what I've lived in. We started into the cannabis industry almost by mistake. I met a friend of mine that was just kind of dabbling in the business side of it, invited me to go to a trade show. I met a medical doctor who absolutely changed my mind. He was an advocate for cannabis, and I was staunchly against it. Mm-hmm. I grew up being against it. I grew up thinking that it was bad being a religious person, being a believer. It was really hard for me to accept it because of my dad was a deacon. Jimmy Carter put him in office. I was on the Carter Center Board of Counselors, and this was everything in this industry seemed to be against what I was about. When I met this guy that was actually my son is a youth minister, and he was at a church preaching. My wife and they were there to hear him preach. After he came out, the pastor came and asked me, I heard you're starting to build marijuana cannabis shops. And he said, my dad is using cannabis. And I looked around. I'm not kidding. I looked around like I'm getting punked. Somebody's shooting. I mean, they're laughing. It's going to be a joke. And he said, I need to introduce you to him. And I got introduced to his dad, and he really it put a face on it for me. I could understand it because he had he had 2 steel rods in his back, and he was treating it with cannabis. And it's the only way he could get. It was the only way he could get relief.
So you are in the cannabis business now in another state?
I have been I have not actually been an owner, but I've built over 100, or been associated with building 150 different cannabis facilities all over the nation.
So why Mississippi?
Well, the owners of this particular facility, when I met them, they all Mississippi owners. They're all business people here in Mississippi.
You have an investment in it too?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay.
And they were incredibly culturally we fit. I've been offered some other jobs to come in and manage some other facilities, and just
can you mention who they are?
Sure. Of the other facilities, Prime Wellness.
No, the people you're invested with.
Oh, sure. Justin, it's the Partridge Group. Justin Malphus, the Stan Martin, Matt Cranmore.
And they have farming operations, or they have businesses?
They have businesses. They've been in the oil business and the waste recovery, in waste management. They've done a lot of businesses. They have a real estate business. They're very successful business people. They are incredibly gracious, and they basically said, you've got a lot of history. We don't have any history in this whatsoever. We know nothing about it, but we want to understand it, and we want to get into the business. They have a great business model. So,
is your expertise, and again, we're speaking with Steve Merritt, who's going to be the COO, the Chief Operating Officer, of something called Southern Sky Brands?
Yes, sir.
Is your expertise in the administration part or the cultivation part?
The administration and the running.
Is that
of the
why
business.
you have this other gentleman here?
Well, Brent is a grower. Has been a grower. He's been very involved. He has coached me and taught me and understood the plant a lot more than I will. He'll forget more than I'll ever know.
Brent, let me ask you a question. Is there a difference to that expertise that you bring with this when it comes to recreational marijuana versus medical marijuana?
The main difference would be the strain selection. So
there is a difference.
Slightly. Both can be used almost interchangeably. Typically, though, you have a more of a dedicated menu for varieties that heal certain ailments that we know are going to be very common. So there's certain varieties that are much more suited for pain management versus ones that are suited more for anxiety and different things like that.
In other words, if you're trying to solve arthritis, it's different than somebody who just wants to get high.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
So, all right. So there is a difference in this one way. Is that in the amount of THC in there?
No, the THC number oftentimes gets thrown around as the thing that affects your ability to get high. But oftentimes it's an effect of the terpenes, which are the flavor compounds, what give it its smell. Some of the other minor cannabinoids too. I mean, there's hundreds of cannabinoids, and we only really have scratched the surface on the top 10.
Why can't just about anybody do this? Because let me rephrase that. Some states allow the individual to grow a minimum amount at home. That's a wide open. Where do they get the strains? What do they know what they're doing, and what's the quality of that?
Oh, it definitely varies. Some people just have the green thumb and are able to pick it up quickly, but most they rely upon either advice of friends, the internet. A lot of times, that's where most people will secure their seeds from various websites.
Has your experience been that you could do this outside and inside, like the state of Mississippi, or is it almost impossible outside?
Definitely possible outside. Although,
is possible.
Yeah, you're able to control the environment much more and have a higher quality product from inside.
So you could actually grow 12 months a year inside, though, could you not?
Absolutely.
Is that what this facility is going to be, Steve?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Our goal is to have. We have 8 different growing rooms. We have a 70,000 square foot building.
Is that what it's going to be? 70,000?
Yes, sir.
Total
square footage. And usually in most indoor grow operations, about 40% of the building is for administration and storage and labs or different things that you'll be putting in there.
What's the status of that now?
We've got a big open flat dirt field right now. Is that our building? We've ordered steel, so our building's going to be $20 million plus in investment in the building itself. We're trying to hire Mississippi tradespeople. We're getting Mississippi people to build it. We're very committed to.
Have you heard of anybody else doing the same thing in the state?
Oh, a lot. Yes, sir.
At this point?
I was in the construction industry before.
So you're talking about the initial investment for just the building alone is going to be around $20 million. Plus. Then by the time you get everything else and ready to go, you're talking about how much?
Probably 26, 27, pushing $30 million for this one facility.